You may have heard about this wildly successful TV show with Grogu's dad going around called The Last of Us. It's about zombies, it's about a virus that mind controls everything, and there's been this viral video going around YouTube that explains how this virus could actually work. So let's see if The Last of Us virus could actually be something in real life.
In tropical rainforests, a war has been raging for millions of years. A war between ant colonies and the different types of fungi that infect them. It's a battle that has led to an arms race of evolution, creating one of the most sinister methods of survival ever discovered. Parasites in general need a host animal to reproduce and survive, and ants are a tempting host animal for parasites indeed. Up to 70% of the individual insects in a rainforest are ants. In theory, this should provide a large pool of potential victims for infectious and parasitic types of fungus.
That's true. If you look at the amount of ants by biomass, they are one of the most massive species on the planet. So biomass is basically like, if you combine all of the humans, if you combine all of the animals of one species, how much mass do they take up? And I'm gonna put like 3 animals here so you guys can get a scale of just how much ants are.
Thus, just like our megacities, ants face a huge risk of disease outbreaks that can potentially wipe out an entire colony. Therefore, ants put up formidable defenses against such invasions. They work together to groom each other clean of pathogens, and if one of their comrades does get infected, it is exiled from the colony.
Alright, so ants actually take quarantine very seriously. I mean, it's kind of like us, isn't it? We went through that experience a couple years ago. So ants basically build up all of these defenses, make sure everyone stays super clean so that they don't get attacked by any of these fungi or parasites or any of that stuff. Because if one of them gets it and it spreads throughout the whole colony, well, it can spread very, very quickly, just like in human cities.
And if a dead ant is discovered by its peers, it is quickly removed, then dumped far away from the colony before the disease can spread.
Ants, yo. We're sleeping on ants. They're so much cooler than people think.
This is all a sometimes ruthless but effective way to keep diseases at bay.
That's actually super impressive that ants do all that kind of maintenance to keep the whole colony clean. Like, I had no idea that they were that advanced. I mean, I knew ants were amazing, but every single time I look up ant videos, they're like even cooler. Like, there's ants that can literally just build massive bridges across stuff or like group together and take on like huge animal prey. Ants are absolutely insane, guys. You gotta look into this. I promise you won't be disappointed.
But in the spinning wheel of evolution, defenses like this can be outmaneuvered and overcome. And one type of fungus has done this in an almost unimaginable way.
Oh, I think we're gonna get to the Cordyceps now.
To see evidence of this strategy, you'd need to venture deep into the rainforest in a place like Thailand.
Thailand, that's also where the virus in The Last of Us started. All right, let's see. They might actually be pulling from reality here. This is getting juicy.
Then you'd need to lean down and look for leaves that sit just above the forest floor. And here, on the underside of a leaf, you just might find an example of a real-life zombie.
Oh my god.
An ant with its mandibles grasped tightly on the leaf's central vein, devoid of its own life, and instead hosting the life of a strange, protruding fungus that is reproducing and spreading its spores.
That's disgusting.
Days or even weeks of mind control have led to this moment.
Wait. This thing, I'm gonna put the meme from last time.
No. Wait.
The fungus working as the puppeteer, the ant the unfortunate victim. This type of mind control is very precise and very insidious.
There's actually a fungus that can mind control ants? Like, this thing is actually real?
And while we might hope it's isolated to ants on the forest floor, parasites of all kinds are exceptional at altering the behavior of their hosts to increase the chances of transmission. Zombies, in a sense, are all around us.
Oh, okay. Apparently there's zombies all around us. I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
How is such parasitic mind control possible? And how scared do we need to be that parasites might take over our own minds?
The zombie fungus.
The ant species Camponotus leonardi.
Oh dude, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean Da Vinci, the carpenter. Da Vinci did everything. He was a painter, he was an artist, he was a scientist. That's probably one of the most intelligent people to ever live. Good job, Leo. And now he's got an ant named after him. 10 out of 10.
A type of carpenter ant lives in the high canopy of the rainforest and builds an extensive network of aerial trails. They would happily stay up in the treetops' relative safety, but sometimes their aerial network is imperfect. If gaps between the leaves are too large to cross, the ants are forced to descend to the forest floor. And here is where the zombie fungus strikes. The fungus, Cordyceps unilateralis, is a highly specialized infectious fungus. When an ant stumbles across one of its spores, the spore attaches to its exoskeleton and eventually breaks through using mechanical pressure and enzymes.
Ooh, so it's got an incubation period. Sound familiar?
And at this point, the fungus starts to take over. Over the course of the next week, infected ants appear perfectly normal and go about their business undetected by the rest of the colony. Then, once the fungus has developed enough inside the ant, it compels the ant to leave the safety of its nest.
Sneaky, sneaky little zombie fungus. It makes it leave the safety of the hive where they would immediately spot the ant and be like, yo, this ant is got something not quite right with him. Let's quarantine him. Let's get rid of him. Let's do something about that. No, this zombie virus is smart. It removes the ant and places him somewhere where he's likely to infect many other ants undetected.
Travel down to the forest floor and climb a small plant stem a few centimeters off the ground. Here, the ant permanently clamps its jaws around a leaf and is completely overtaken by the fungus. Where the ant carries out its death grip is remarkably precise. In one study, every infected ant chomped down on the underside of a leaf, and 98% bit down on the leaf's vein. Almost all of them did this on the north side of the plant, on a leaf exactly 25 centimeters above the ground. The chosen leaves were in an environment with 94 to 95% humidity, and all ended up in a location with temperatures between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius.
That is insane that the virus is that precise about choosing the exact location. Imagine if I could be that precise about where I wanted to live. But no, I live in beautiful Warsaw where it's cloudy most of the time. This ant basically chose Thailand or Bali as his place to live. This is an absolutely amazing fungus. We should learn more from it.
It is no coincidence that every one of these factors is the optimal condition for the Cordyceps fungus to grow. The zombie ant has transported it to its exact preferred location, meaning the control the fungus exerts over the ant is astoundingly precise. And at this precise location, a long fungus stalk eventually bursts through the ant's head, with a bulbous capsule full of spores on the end, and the ant is killed. And because the ant typically clamps down on a leaf in its own colony's territory, the fungal spores rain down onto other ants below, zombifying any it touches.
So the other ants aren't even aware that this ant is up there. That's even crazier. I thought it would be like interacting with them and that's how it spread it. But no, it just chooses the exact perfect camping location. If this was Call of Duty, they'd be getting roasted right now. And it just like slightly drips onto the other ants down below. That is insane because I don't think ants are looking up when they're walking around. You know, they're busy. They're like New Yorkers. They've got places to be.
The first zombie ant was documented over 100 years ago.
We knew about zombie ants 100 years ago and we still haven't done anything about it. Come on, guys. And we didn't even know how they, maybe I'm getting controlled by a virus after stuttering like that. Maybe, Jesus again. We didn't even know how this, oh my God, I can't get this line out. We didn't even know how this fungus used to control the ants until recently. What? Let's keep watching.
But until recently, scientists had no idea how the Cordyceps fungus could control the ant so precisely. And while there are still many questions, recent research using machine learning is getting us closer to an answer.
So we still don't know how it works. We need actual AI to come along and we're using machine learning to try to figure out this problem. That is actually insane. I mean, this Cordyceps fungus must be so in tune with its host, basically be the programming and then piggyback off of the infrastructure of the ant. But how on earth do you program such specific instructions? The end result is always the same, but the variables are the ant is in like an open box environment, right? Like that's what the world is. It's open, it's 3D space. So you can't just be like, go to this exact coordinates and it'll always be correct. No, you have to somehow program an algorithm into the ant through the fungus in order for it to go and find the exact correct type of place in order to clamp down and stay there. That is absolutely mind-blowing that this thing is that advanced, and now I've got even more heebie-jeebies and goosebumps, and I'm definitely not gonna sleep.
To get to the bottom of the mind control mystery, scientists wanted to know what part of the ant's body the fungus infects. Surely, they thought, the fungus's mind control ability would be focused inside the ant's head.
Yeah, duh. Isn't it?
So they worked to identify any parts of the ant where the fungus was present. And to their surprise, they found fungal cells not just in the ant's head, but also in the thorax and gaster. And intriguingly, they also found fungal cells in abundance inside the legs.
I mean, so basically the fungus is everywhere. I mean, that's really the only other option, right? Either it's in the head or it's just everywhere.
Next, they wanted to see how much of the fungus infects the brain of the ant. Using a laser scanning microscope, they examined the nervous tissue in the head of infected ants and found something profoundly unexpected. The fungus doesn't touch the ant's brain at all. Fungal cells were concentrated directly outside the brain, but none were observed inside the brain.
What?
How can the fungus control the ant's mind if its actual mind is untouched?
That's insane. Does that mean that the ant is actually still alive and aware that it's being like completely taken over? Probably. Oh, this got so dark.
Next, they looked closer at the fungus growing in the rest of the ant's body. Here, they found fungal cells present between the muscle fibers in both the head and leg regions. To quantify the amount of fungus in each sequential image scan, they used a deep learning algorithm that could quickly identify fungal cells from ant tissue that could then build a 3D model.
Okay, so let's put this all together because there's a lot going on right now. 1, the fungus doesn't touch the brain. 2, the fungus is absolutely everywhere it can be in the body without damaging the like critical components. I mean, I'm sure it does quite a lot of damage anyway just by so much of it being there, but it leaves like the muscle tissue intact, and that's how it's able to make the ant walk around.
Doing this by hand would have taken months, but instead they got the result in days. Scientists could then start to see that the hyphal bodies, the yeast-like circular fungal cells, were connected to other hyphal bodies by short tubes, and that some of these hyphae invade the ant's muscles, penetrating the cell membranes and growing inside. Elsewhere in the fungal world, fungal tubes like this are known to allow for the transfer of chemicals, nutrients, and information.
Then, on top of that, all of the fungi cells are connected through a tube-like system. You know, we as humans, we have our nervous system, which is like all of our nerves and stuff that connect all of our stuff together. But with the ants, when they're infected with this fungus, the fungus that lives in there has its own kind of like tube structure to like transfer nutrients and information, and that is absolutely mind-blowing.
So these connections, the tubes, the penetrating fibers, point to an intricate network inside the ant's body, connecting the fungal cells to each other and to the ant's muscles. All of this suggests that the fungus isn't using mind control to transport itself where it needs to go, but rather muscle control in a full body takeover.
Yeah, no mind control, muscle control. That means that the fungus has a mind of its own.
The ant's mind may, in fact, be completely unaffected, meaning it's trapped as a prisoner in its own body, with the fungus in control.
This is so dark. You always hear about these surgeries where like the patient is still alive while it's happening. That's exactly this, and this is happening on a huge scale.
Exactly what chemical signals the fungus sends to the ant muscles to cause it to do its bidding is still unknown, however. Scientists are working hard to uncover this last mystery of the ant zombie phenomenon.
So we know where it is, we know what it does and doesn't infect, We know that it's taking control of the muscles, but we still don't know how it's doing that. That's just crazy. It goes to show, with as much as we know about the world, there's still so many unanswered questions.
But how common is this type of situation? Is it only ants that get zombified? How worried do we need to be that The Last of Us may not be just science fiction, but a premonition?
That's the million-dollar question.
Ants may be the most common host for the Cordyceps fungus, but they are by no means the only ones. It infects plenty of other insects and spiders, like tarantulas or beetles, leading to a similar spectacular death. However, the Cordyceps fungus does not have the zombifying ability in these other organisms, only the ants.
Okay, that's good. It's only zombifying ants. The other animals, that's already pretty bad that it's infecting other animals too. But let's see exactly how it works in other animals. Apparently it's a more basic version, so maybe I won't be able to sleep tonight, but tomorrow, tomorrow's starting to look better.
And while this might make you want to breathe a sigh of relief, the Cordyceps fungus is far from the only parasite capable of controlling the behavior of its host. In fact, there are dozens of examples of parasitic mind control in the animal kingdom.
I was ready to sleep tomorrow, and then they're like, yeah, you might be okay, but psych, there's way more of them out there. Great.
The Leucochloridium is a parasitic worm that invades a snail's eye stalks, where it pulsates in a mesmerizing way to imitate a caterpillar. The worm then mind controls the snail out into the open to tempt hungry birds to eat its eye stalks.
That might be the most disgusting thing I've seen in a while. It looks like a weird French dessert.
Once inside the bird, the worm is able to reproduce, and then release its eggs in the bird's droppings, which then get eaten up by more snails, and the parasite's life cycle is complete. Then there's the emerald cockroach wasp that attacks cockroaches with venom that blocks a neurotransmitter that allows the cockroach to control its own movements. The wasp can then lead the walking zombie roach into the wasp's nest, where it will act as a host and a food source for the wasp's larvae. All of these zombie instances seem to happen on a tiny scale, on the forest floor with snails, insects, or spiders. Is it possible for more complex animals to fall victim to such an insidious killer? For mammals, it's certainly not as common, but not unheard of. In perhaps the most disturbing example of zombie infection in mammals, mice become mind-controlled by a parasite called Toxoplasma gondii, which compels them to walk straight to their own deaths. Toxoplasma gondii is a parasitic protozoan that can infect any warm-blooded animal. But mice have particularly bad luck.
No, it takes mammals too. Leave the mice alone.
Because there's just one animal that the parasite can reproduce in: cats. Studies have shown that Toxoplasma infection in rodents is able to change their instinctual fear of the odor of cats into an attraction to this odor.
Yo, I don't know if this mouse is being mind controlled or if it's just taken a lot of LSD.
The infected mice and rats visit more often and stay longer in places containing the odor of cat urine. This naturally makes them more likely to get eaten by a cat.
It looks like it's having the time of its life at a dead mouse rave,
where the Toxoplasma parasite can complete its life cycle.
Come on, give me the point. It was funny.
And unfortunately for us, we too can get infected with this parasite.
Wait. I was into this whole cat thing, into this mouse pretty much asking to get eaten by the cats, and now you're just gonna hit me all of a sudden with the humans get it too? We're only 11 minutes and 17 seconds into the video, and you're gonna drop this bombshell on me now? Just so casually? Can you at least have some emotion in your voice? Like, we're all gonna die!
In fact, 1/3 of the entire population already is.
1/3 of us are already infected? Alright, it's over. I'm buying a house, I'm getting a shotgun, and I'm gonna live in a bunker for the rest of my life. Just like Bill in The Last of Us.
Infection usually occurs by eating undercooked contaminated meat or exposure from infected cat feces.
I always said I was more of a dog person than a cat person. Exhibit A, you wanna get a fungus? I don't.
The parasite then hangs out in various tissues, including the brain, pretty much dormant for long periods of time, sometimes for the rest of your life.
So this thing is just there, incubating, potentially for the rest of your life? Keep it moving. Can we, you're really starting to freak me out here. That last 30 seconds of this video have not inspired the sense of confidence that I usually feel regarding the safety of society overall.
For decades, scientists thought that the infection in humans was relatively harmless, besides the risk it poses to unborn babies in pregnant women.
Oh yeah, harmless, sure. Hello, check out the freaking TV show. Look at what it did to the ant. Oh, it's my protein shake, sorry.
But recent studies show that that might not be the case at all, and it might mess with us in very weird ways. A study in 2002 showed that individuals involved in car accidents were more likely to have such infections hiding in their bodies.
Okay, so let's have a look at this graph right here. According to this graph, people who are victims in car accidents have twice as much of this fungus or whatever it is inside of them than the general population. That's actually insane. I mean, I guess that just means that somehow it has like an effect on your cognitive abilities, and that makes these drivers less safe on the road. But maybe it's just because this virus is mostly in Thailand, and we all know what they say about Asian drivers.
It's thought that the Toxoplasma parasite slows down reaction times.
Just kidding, you know I love you, Thailand. So, there we go, it slows down reaction times. Confirmed, science, bitch!
In rodents, this slow reaction time would help them get eaten by cats. In us, is it just an unfortunate evolutionary carryover or something more? A few years later, a small study found something even more strange. Participants with a toxoplasmosis infection rated the odor of diluted cat urine as more pleasant than non-infected participants did. However, weirdly, this was only true for the men in the study.
Hey, another thing that only affects men. Come on! We're out here doing our best, and now we got a fungus to worry about as well?
And perhaps even more scary is that the Toxoplasma parasite also seems to be a risk factor in developing schizophrenia.
Right, so I mean, it really wouldn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together. You have a mind control virus, and you have schizophrenia. Oh hey, all of a sudden Timmy over here is displaying 2 personalities. I wonder where that second one came from. He must just be insane. There's no way that there's a crazy zombie fungus controlling him. Yes, there is.
Researchers in Copenhagen found that individuals with the infection were almost 50% more likely to be diagnosed with schizophrenia disorders compared to those without an infection. Scientists are still debating about the mechanism here and about the causation-correlation conundrum. But as the years go on, the evidence only gets stronger for the idea that Toxoplasma is absolutely messing with human psychology and behavior.
Great, so we've also got a crazy fungus causing all kinds of havoc with us. Wonderful.
But is there a bigger reason that this happens? The Toxoplasma parasite mind controls the mouse to be able to reproduce and spread to other mice. Is Toxoplasma gondii doing the same with us? But humans are certainly not the prey of house cats, the parasite's current primary host, as much as the cats may wish that were true. But current is the key word here. Domesticated house cats have only been around for around 9,000 years.
Only been around for 9,000 years. Okay, let's stop right there. It sounds like not a long time, and I get it on an evolutionary time scale, that's not a long time. But, fun fact, did you know that on a time scale, we are closer to the time of Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the time that the pyramids were built? Did you know that? Fun fact.
It's likely that in the past, a different, bigger cat was the parasite's primary host, and our ancestors may have been a primary snack.
What an amazing piece of cinematography right there. Whoever caught that clip deserves a raise. National Geographic, you better hire this guy.
Leopards in particular are extremely good at hunting and eating primates, and they always have been. They are stealthy, fast, can leap into trees where primates sleep to snatch them, and can carry heavy loads. leopard ancestors have been going after human ancestors for millions of years.
Yo, I just noticed in this clip that that's a leopard on the top left. I thought it was like another monkey. No, there's literally a leopard in the tree challenging the baboons. That's crazy.
Even today, leopards are the cause of 70% of baboon deaths, and half of a leopard's diet consists of monkeys or chimpanzees.
Half of their diet consists of monkeys or chimpanzees? Yo, those are bros. Chillax, cats.
To see if primates may be affected by the Toxoplasma parasite the same way mice are, researchers tested the reactions of chimps to the smell of leopard urine. And they found that the chimpanzees not infected with Toxoplasma investigated the smell of leopard urine less often, avoiding the smell to the best of their ability. The chimps infected with the Toxoplasma parasite, on the other hand, investigated the leopard urine far more often. Their fear of it seemed to be diminished, causing them to act more recklessly, just like rodents infected with the parasite.
Oh my goodness, so the leopards and the Toxoplasma parasite are working together to try to end us. So the good news is that this stuff just makes you a little bit slow to react to stuff. The bad news is that I guess if you're a cat owner, you're probably a bit more unbothered about your cat's urine than you should be. And if you're out in the wild and you see a leopard and you're like, hey, that's such a nice smell that I'm smelling, you should probably start running because that leopard's about to pounce down from a tree at you.
So somewhere in our evolutionary past, it's possible that the parasite evolved to alter our decision-making skills as well, or even attract us to our own feline deaths. Many of these studies were small, and much more research needs to be done to fully understand the impact of Toxoplasma gondii on our brains. But these results so far have scientists reconsidering everything they thought they knew about the parasite. While the Cordyceps fungus may never bring about the zombie apocalypse in humans, our actions and behaviors may still be influenced by a parasitic force that definitely does not have our best interest at heart.
Now we've all got a much better excuse for what happened on that exam or that test where we didn't do quite as well as we thought we did. We can just be like, yeah, Mom, Dad, you know, lately I've been really into this cat and I don't really know why, but something about the smells that are around it and I'm just like, it makes me feel really calm and really good. And then you can go to the doctor and get tested and there's a 30% chance that you're gonna have this thing and you can be like, see, that's why I did badly on this thing. I'm infected with this parasite. Thanks, cats.
To me, fungi are one of the most fascinating, mysterious, sometimes scary, and sometimes charming organisms in our world. They help break down wood, decompose leaf litter, and create soil. They create things essential to us like penicillin, and aid in the production of cheese, bread, and beer. They can give us sources of tons of vitamins or minerals, and decorate our forest floors with whimsy. Or they can be so poisonous that they kill you almost instantly, or take over brains and create leagues of zombie insects.
Great, so while we're probably okay, we do have to worry about an insect army insurrection of zombified insects. Wonderful.
Fungi, in a sense, control our world, and life as we know it would likely not exist without them.
You know what? This fun guy that they keep talking about doesn't really sound like a fun guy, does he?
If you're like me and love to look at mushrooms, identify mushrooms, and eat mushrooms, and prefer the kind that doesn't turn you into a zombie instantly, then you should try
HelloFresh, please sponsor me. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, make sure to smash that subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching. Check out the next video.